Spear Sports Consultants presents our NFL Week 7 picks for all games, and what a week it is. We're looking forward to this one. Not too often do you get Super Bowl rematches. We have one here with the Chiefs and the 49ers. And then we have what could be a Super Bowl preview. I don't think that's too much of a stretch between the Texans and the Packers. Maybe a bit of a stretch, but those two teams could definitely be in it. Exciting to see what happens between Stroud and Jordan Love. And then the game we're most looking forward to is the Lions at the Vikings. We're looking at the Lions here. We're curious of that big butt whooping game at Dallas might make them a little complacent, and emotionally they're going to be wrecked by that Aiden Hutchinson loss. So this game is going to be really one we're looking at. We think this game could in fact determine who wins that division. We have a video we're putting out on Wednesday in which we talk about that. Who wins the NFC North? All four teams above 500. The worst record is 4-2. Really great this season. We think the Vikings with that offense, they are legit, and we love Brian Flores' complex defense. Might be able to slow down Detroit. We actually like the Vikings here, 28-21. I think that home field advantage is really good. Go with the Vikings here. Texans at the Packers. I've got to recuse myself a little bit. We are Texans fans, 2 of the 4 here, 2 Texans, 2 Dolphins. But we really like what the Texans have got now, especially getting Joe Mixon back. In addition, we're getting defensive player, linebacker, defensive end, Denico Autry back. Should be ready for this game. But look at what the Packers have done since Jordan Love has come back. They did a great job while he was out. We think we're going to go with the home team here. Again, we're Texans fans, so we try not to be biased. We still think the Packers win this in a close one, 24-21. Chargers at the Cardinals. We want to do a feature on this, but one of the teams we're the most pleasantly surprised with has to be the LA Chargers, and it's really the way they're winning games. You have a quarterback like Justin Herbert. We love what Harbaugh is doing, kind of like underusing him a little bit, focusing on running. Unbelievable defense. They shut down the Broncos really until the fourth quarter. Shut down the Broncos at Denver. That's a tough place to go in and win. We like him here at Arizona. I don't think there'll be much of a letdown because Harbaugh's too much a professional. Like we said, we love the way they're winning games, and they haven't even let Justin Herbert really take over yet. So go with the Chargers here, 23-20 on the road at Arizona. We've learned that sometimes when you pick games, you have an unconscious bias against one team or for one team. We think we might have had that with the Falcons a little bit. Part of that is we spent 15 years in ATL. We saw them as a chronic underachiever. I hate to bring this up, 28-3. They're just one of those teams that they might lose a game they should win. Seahawks are kind of in the same boat. Geno Smith, we really thought he'd bounce back to his 2022 form. Hasn't quite done that yet, but we like what we're seeing with the Falcons offense. We thought they'd struggle a little bit at Carolina, being a division game outdoors. Like him here, 24-21 over the visiting Seahawks. And next up, we have the Thursday game, which we're referring to as the Sean Payton Bowl, as Broncos head coach and former Saints head coach returns to the Caesars Superdome to face his old team. We hope they give him a friendly welcome. He is the man that brought the only Saints Super Bowl championship and really gave them an opportunity to win several more if they weren't cheated by the refs in that Rams NFC championship game. That was an awful, awful thing. Anyway, for this game, we think the Broncos are going to bounce back a little bit. We're curious here. We're going to put this as a conditional pick. Look for the injury report of Derek Carr or Taysom Hill comes back. We're going to shift to the Saints, but if it stands for Spencer Rattler, I think Bo Nix has had more experience this year. He's going to bounce back from what was a questionable early performance against the Chargers, but a really great fourth quarter. Go back and watch that game. They turned it on there. I think they outscored them 14-0 in the fourth quarter. Really good run. So we think the Broncos bounce back and give Sean Payton a measure of revenge against his old team. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel. And if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. Panthers at the Commanders. The Panthers, even though they lost against the Falcons, they're playing a lot better under Andy Dalton than they were under Bryce Young. We like what the running back Hubbard has been doing. They got a nice balanced offensive approach, but boy, you know how we feel about Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. We think he's the top performing rookie quarterback by far. I think the Commanders, they need to address some issues, the commentator said it yesterday, with their secondary before they can truly be elite. But we think offensively, they're going to be able to outscore most teams, at least till they get to the playoffs, and it might become difficult, assuming they make the playoffs. We like them here, though, 30-14 over the visiting Panthers. We think this sets them up for a nice run, maybe a division championship. Dolphins at the Colts. Odd in our picks last week. We talked about how the Colts look great against the Jaguars and with best performance of a losing team. Yeah, we picked the Titans. It's like, I don't know what we were doing there. So looking at this game here, we love what Joe Flacco did yesterday. We like what he did against the Jaguars the week before. Look at the Dolphins, not sure what they're going to do at quarterback. A little disappointed in what Mike McDaniel has been able to do as opposed to what LaFleur did while Jordan Love was out. He showed his superior coaching. He created an offense that went with a replacement quarterback, in that case Malik Willis, who they'd only had for a couple of weeks. Great job of coaching. But for this game, we think the Colts, especially indoors at home, beat the Dolphins 21-14. Titans at the Bills, a rematch of the famous Music City Miracle game and that dreaded 93 AFC wild card when they were the Oilers, not Titans. So these two teams have a legacy, have a history. We're looking at this game. Josh Allen, we expect him to maybe struggle against the Jets Monday night and then come back here. The Titans, we really think they should move on for at least a little bit from Will Levis. We think he's holding them back a little bit. We think Mason Rudolph might give him a boost, similar to what Dalton did for the Panthers as they were struggling. So we like Buffalo here 24-17 over the Titans at home. Ravens at the Bucs. Interesting matchup here. We're going to see a lot of offense. We think the Ravens are going to go 3 straight games with an offensive explosion, having put up tons of points against the Bengals. Then this past week against the Commanders. Now the Bucs, who have a lot of injuries on the secondary and the defense overall. We again have to revisit that one statistic. We think this is critical. 22-1 now. Lamar Jackson is 22-1 against NFC teams, and of course the Bucs are an NFC team. But we look at this game and we ran the numbers on this. It came back a little interesting. It really came back as a tie. So when we go look at it a little more critically, we think the play here is going to be the over. Take a look at that. We'll give you the pick here. We look at the Ravens having more of a balanced attack. Buccaneers are pretty much strictly a passing team, so we like that duality, that balanced offense. We think the Ravens take a close one here. We had to pick 31-28, but look for the totals number here. Anything maybe 51, take the over. Jets at the Steelers. A caveat here, we are recording this before the Monday night game, so watch the injury report to see what came out of that game before deciding on your play. Looking at this game, it's going to be tough for the Jets coming off that Monday night game to go back on the road to face the Steelers, whose defense has been playing phenomenally. We love what TJ Watt did yesterday with a punch-out fumble and then fumble recovery. We think he recovered it. We think it'll again be a Steelers low-scoring game. They should be able to keep Aaron Rodgers in check, and then Justin Fields should be able to do just enough to win this one, 17-14 over the visiting Jets. Eagles at the Giants. We've said it before, we'll say it again. You need to watch games rather than just look at the scores and even the box score to see really what happened. Like, for example, the Eagles, 2016 over the Browns, looked like they were struggling a little bit. 7 of those points came on a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. So, really, the Eagles had that game fairly well in hand, kept Deshaun in check, even though Deshaun is struggling this year. You could tell that Jalen Hurts and the receivers weren't quite on the same page yet as they're coming back from injury. We think they'll continue to get better. And we identified they have struggles, but also with the Giants' injuries, we think that the Eagles are a superior team right now. It'll be close. We like the Eagles here 24-21 over the division rival Giants. Raiders at the Rams. Watching the Raiders game yesterday, it's like the Raiders were doing everything in their power to lose that game. They had several possessions where they could have scored a touchdown, fumbled at the goal line, a lot of bad penalties to negate key plays. Feel sorry for first-year head coach Antonio Pierce. It's like that team just isn't quite gelling. Made changes at quarterback. We think that's the next thing they need to do in next year's draft, get a new quarterback, franchise guy. Look at the Rams here. Injuries, especially the receivers. But again, coaching. Sean McVay has done a great job with the limited resources that he has. And of course, you still have Matthew Stafford at quarterback. They're the home team here. Couldn't pick the Raiders in this one. We like the Rams 21-17 over the visiting Raiders. Patriots at the Jaguars is why you have to follow these games week over week. We were highly against the Jaguars last week. We still think Trevor Lawrence's accuracy issues. Hearing Kurt Warner talk about his lack of accuracy was kind of telling. Nice guy Kurt Warner pointing out how Lawrence is not putting the ball where the receiver needs to be able to catch it, keep it away from the defender. We think those struggles continue, but we like the fact this is a back-to-back London game for the Jaguars, they've kind of made London their second home over the past couple of years. I think that usually they split those games. So having lost to the Bears, we also think the Patriots with Drake May, he's got a little bit more seasoning, needs a little bit more time to kind of gel. We like the Jaguars here, 24-17. Bengals at the Browns. This is a tough spot. We remember this was the matchup week 1 in 2023. We were all over the Browns in that game. We thought their pass defense would stifle Joey B and really slow him down, and we still think that will be the case. Take a look at the underplay. We do think the Bengals won't score as much, but again, not to keep picking on Deshaun, but that Browns offense is just not doing anything. So we think the Bengals, who showed a little bit of improvement in the defense in the Sunday night game, we think they will win here in a close one, 20-17. But follow that injury report. Make sure that all the receivers for the Bengals are healthy. We like what they're doing with a combination of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Really tough to cover those two top receivers. And now for the main event, we've got the Super Bowl rematch. The Chiefs going into Santa Clara to face the NFC champion 49ers. And when we look at this game, we pick against the Chiefs so much and we get burnt. And we wonder how much of that is just projection and we're trying to will it to happen. So we think we're going to flip that. We do think the 49ers were fully healthy. If they had Christian McCaffrey, they've got the advantage, especially being at home. But we love what the Chiefs have been doing on defense. We think Steve Spagnuolo is underrated, as you can be, having, 5+ Super Bowl championships as a defensive coordinator. Just unbelievable what he did with the Giants before. Now what he's doing with the Chiefs. So we think it's going to be a low-scoring game at Santa Clara. We like the Chiefs winning narrowly 21-17 over the 49ers.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.